They're looking to sell their primary home and keep the rental, but the rental's on a TD variable. Okay, so they hit their trigger point. TD's been sending them notices. They didn't change their payments at all. So their amortization is now 1,280 months, which is 103 years.
What?
Yeah, 103 years.
You're listening to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast with your hosts, Paul Stevenson, David Warren, and Greg Campbell. Let's see what's going on in the world of real estate today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast. My name is Greg Campbell, and as usual, I'm with my co-host, David Warren, and my other co-host, Paul Stevenson, who is having some technical difficulties. But you know, that's what's fun about being in this business. We get to be remote when we want to, and it just doesn't always work. So we do our best. We do our best when it comes to it. I'm a realtor, the Campbell Maric Group at eXp Realty. David Warren is a partner and mortgage agent level 2, right? I hear that all the time now. It's like level 2. Mm-hmm. Level 2 is a level up from level 1 mortgage agent realm, and owner at Referral Mortgages. David, how are you today?
I'm very well. Very well. Yeah. A little bit of a gray day today. Slow getting to the office. So I feel a little, we thought Tuesday recordings would be more energy, not nearly as busy from coming off the weekend, but today it doesn't feel that way at all.
No, and it doesn't feel that way for me today either. I'm a little like this. I'm like this today. I think I'm just going to keep my head down and work from home today in complete silence alone. Working in silence for all of you. That's what I'm doing today.
Hear me now?
Yeah. I don't know if we're ever going to hear you, Paul. We can hear you, but you still sound like an AM radio from the 1970s. A broken AM radio.
Oh, geez.
Just keep trying, Paul. I know you're going to get there eventually because you were there. Let's dive
into it. Let's ignore Paul. Let's drown him out, and let's get into it. I think. How was your weekend? Did you?
I was just going to be panicking over there. Weekend was okay. I was over to a friend's house. Now we had Mother's Day and everything too, so that was nice. Obviously, celebrate the mothers, celebrate the ladies. I'm sure you did some of that.
Yeah. Do you have any open houses this weekend? Or
no, we didn't have
slow?
anything. It was, you know what? I don't even know who was working open houses this weekend. You want to know something funny? Is we used to never do open houses on things like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Super Bowl, Sunday. Mm-hmm. But now, because the demographic in the city is different, a lot of the times, like you do those now. Mm-hmm. Not everyone celebrates the Mother's Day. Or special traditional North American events, which is fine. Like that's the gift of Canada.
People got houses to find, Gregory.
They need to go. They need to look. They need to be there. They need to have access. Yeah. I do have some. That's a little bit better. We can hear you. You're just very thin.
Infuriating. Well, thanks for having me, guys. I feel like a remote guest on the moon today.
Oh, you sound like it.
Recording live from the moon, Paul Stevenson.
We'll throw that compressor on it.
I had planned this so well. Like I had all my stuff together. I got a nice mic set up that connects to my phone. And then sure enough, right when the show starts, I hit the one dead zone on Highway 7 that has absolutely no reception. And I cut out and it disconnects all of my things. Great. But here we are.
You're back. You're back, Paul. And it's funny, the dead zone, speaking of that, there's that one there. And then there's another one. It's brief, but in Orleans, like on the way to Orleans down Anderson, once you get off Ridge Road, if you're coming around the back to Renault, there's like this little dip that goes down. And then you just suddenly, you may lose connection. So if I am talking to somebody, I always say, I may lose you. I may lose you for 30 seconds here.
So guys, I'd like to start with a funny story. If you're interested, if you would appease me.
I'm very interested in this episode overall and how it will be taken by our listeners.
I don't even know if that's the right word. So, funny story. I had a pair of clients reach out looking to get pre-approved. They start off by openly telling me that it was one of the two. Tells me that openly that they have poor credit. Bad credit was actually the term they used. So I said, okay, we start chatting. I kind of ask about a few more discovery questions. And, by the end of it, I said, okay, it sounds like it has legs. Like, they got a decent income, over 6 figures combined. They got some money saved for down payment. But this bad credit was kind of sticking out. So I was explaining the difference between alternative lenders, B lenders, A lenders, prime, blah, blah, blah. And kind of got to the point where I said, you mentioned you had bad credit. Like, what does that mean to you? Because, bad credit means something different for everyone. And so the response was, we missed some payments and, we've had some issues over the years and some stuff was written off. And I'm like, okay, so I'm like, no bankruptcies or credit proposals or anything like that. No, just bad credit. And I said, okay. I said, well, what was the reason for missing the payments? Like, is it, because is there, was it, did you lose your job? Was it something like that? And the response was, well, I'm the type of person that when they call me and tell me they want money, I tell them I'll pay you when I'm ready. I don't get stressed out by them calling me. I just don't worry about it. I just pay them whenever I can. and so I said, okay. I said, well, that's fair. Now, so I just kind of flipped it on them and said, well, picture you're the lender now, right? You're lending out, let's say $400,000. If someone said that to you, would you be interested in lending them $400,000, or do you think you'd be a little apprehensive? And it was like a long 10 seconds of dead air. And then, yeah, that's a pretty good point. Like kind of realized it from the other side, like, oh yeah, that's right. The people that lend me money actually want it back at some point, And it was one of those things where I just realized, like, you never know what people's experience is with credit, right? I mean, everyone's relationship with money is very different.
Mm-hmm.
Some people grew up not even thinking about money. Everything was handed to them. And other people grew up with absolutely nothing and had to scrape by. And everyone's relationship with money is different. And I feel like in our industry, Dave, I'm sure you see it too. Like, everyone you talk to, you really get a good insight into their relationship with not only money, but credit. And this was one of the most like eye-opening conversations I had, because I have never, I've been in finance now almost 20 years. I've never heard anyone speak about credit in that manner of just like, I'm sure some people think it, but to say it out loud is quite a different story,
Yeah, I've had to use a similar analogy, not what the person's saying outwardly. Like, I'll just, I don't care when they call for money, I'll pay them when I feel like it. I've kind of always used the analogy of, would you, if you, with your own money, would you lend this person money? And having them think about it that way, kind of similarly, but never in a situation where they're admitting that they'll not pay their bills or pay it when the heck they feel like it. That's absurd.
We want to buy a house, but we just don't know if we'll ever pay it back. We just want a house stone,
Yeah, that's weird that they would just say that when they're looking for a mortgage. That's definitely strange.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see their credit bureau. I would really be interested to see that credit bureau. That'd be a fun one.
They decided in my follow-up email, they decided they're going to hold off for a bit. So that was my exciting story of the week, gentlemen. But otherwise, I feel like the market's rolling on. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but like, I know interest rates are up, and to be honest, with the news that's coming out recently, I'm very skeptical that we're going to see more than 1, maybe 2 rate cuts this year. Like, I just feels like the economy is rolling on. Like, I think a lot of people are hurting, but there's still jobs being created, a lot of them government jobs. Like, yeah, I just think that, I don't know if you guys heard Tip Macklem's kind of presentation this week, but he's basically telling Canadians to kind of brace for long-term higher interest rates. Like, I think, we're seeing the bond rates up. We're seeing even the 1-year bond is up. So like, short-term, long-term, everything looks like rates are going to hold or even potentially go up. So I just think we're going to see this market continue to roll. And as I said, like, sales aren't going down. We're seeing more listings, Greg. I'm sure you're going to speak to that in your stats. But we're seeing more listings. We're still seeing a lot of transactions happening, and rates don't seem to be moving. They seem to be very, very sticky right now. So I think, we always say the next 6 months will be interesting, but I don't think we're going to see as many rate cuts as everyone's expecting. I think, we may see one in June, and then maybe one at the end of the year. Excuse me for my voice. I'm also sick right now. But I think I think people need to temper their expectations on rates right now. I think we're going to see a higher rate environment for longer than everyone was expecting.
Yeah, and it's going to turn into, what happens now, right? Where there was that window of time where people were waiting for the rates, so the buyers kind of stopped for a minute. And now that they're hearing that the rates may not drop, there's more shopping again, trying to get in there. And then of course the prices just are, maintaining or escalating. There's a lot of action. It's just so funny. I'm not even going to say it, but you know how we feel about all this, timing, and you can't do it. And people play with that too much. You just got to go for it or not go for it.
And I think to both of your points, the market is continuing to roll on. There's certainly pockets and price points that aren't moving, but other pockets and price points that are moving very aggressively and, still going, there's, I think listings were up something I was reading this morning, I think up 17% or something like that in April in Ottawa, but there's still multiple offers happening. I know of clients preparing for multiple offer, going over asking today. And, it is happening in certain areas, but yeah, I think it's, if you're out looking or preparing to look, do research on that area that you're looking in, because not everything is just being stagnant. So just go prepared regardless, even though things might seemingly not be moving as quickly, like still prepare, have that pre-approval, be able to tighten up a condition, because you never know who else might be looking at that property as well.
Yeah. So segueing out of that, David, the board stats.
I don't know. Are you supposed to say segue when you're segueing? I don't know.
I don't know.
I think we do that
on this show, don't we?
No, I think so.
Do that.
I think that's how it works. I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
I think that's how it works.
We could just do it in a professional way where we don't say it, where it's like, these guys are so good, but I kind of like acknowledging it. Just
the Greg way, as Steven says.
The Greg way. Segue, Greg way. So the Ottawa Real Estate Board reported 1,456 homes sold in April 2024, an 8.9% increase from April 2023. However, this was 2% below the 5-year average and 6.9% below the 10-year average for April. Year-to-date home sales were up 11.5% from the same period in 2023, totaling 4,132 units. That's quite a bit. OREB President Curtis Fillier noted a restored confidence among buyers and sellers, leading to more listings and stable market conditions. Fair. Townhomes have shifted to a seller's market, and single-family homes are driving up average sales prices. The MLS HPI Home Price Index composite benchmark price was $643,700 in April 2024, a 1.6% increase from the previous year. Average home prices rose 1.2% to $705,000 in April 2024, with the year-to-date average of $675,000, up from 2.4% in 2023. New listings in April 2024 increased by 40.5% from the previous year, totaling 2,597. Active listings rose 36.6% to 2,966 units. The months of inventory increased slightly to 2 months from 1.6 in April 2023. So, I mean, big changes. What does that mean? It's just a bunch of numbers kind of being spit out. It means that there's more happening than there was at the same time last year, and that the prices are still going up. Like I said on the show last week, we're higher than what we were 2023 and 2021 in terms of where we're at in the market right now, even with the rates much higher than they were.
Yeah, to me, that's solving the supply issue. We're seeing a massive flood of listings coming out, and the biggest thing there is that they're moving. It's not like I think the days on market is still probably what it was a month or two ago. It doesn't seem to be extending. And no. I feel like I was just kind of looking at my book this morning, like book of deals. And, I'm having one of my busiest years to date, meaning that there's a lot of people still out shopping. I have a large number of people pre-approved, actively looking and kind of just waiting for that perfect property to come along. And, when you're seeing 5, 10, 15 listings in your price range come out every day, you're going to wait. You're going to wait for that perfect property. So there's a lot of people that are just kind of still sitting in the wings waiting. The other thing I would say is I'm seeing a lot of this year, especially just because of my length of time in the industry. Dave, I'm sure you're the same. Probably 30% of my files this year are renewals. And of those renewals, I would probably say 1 in 4 are actually refinancing, like restructuring the mortgage, re-extending the amortization, maybe paying off some debt that accumulated over the last few years. So even with the higher interest rates, people are still seeing the benefit, even at 5% interest, if they're consolidating outside debt, or if they're lowering their payments to extend it to maybe back to 25 years or what have you, like people are figuring out a way, they're making it work. So it's interesting to see the uptick of listings, but also the uptick on my side, at least, of refinances. Like it's usually people would refinance to maybe do an update or a reno, but people are kind of doing it to stay under that roof, like to not have to sell. They're actually refinancing to extend the amortization, lower the payments, maybe pay out some outside debt so that the only thing they have to pay every month is the mortgage. So it's, the conversations are becoming much more, I don't want to say serious, but like they're like, we really have to advise now, it's not as simple as just like, I bought a house, here's the best rate. Like we're really having to be strategic and like, okay, what's the end goal? Like, I think a mortgage broker now is more important than ever, because like we're actually looking at all of the different products, all of the kind of timelines over the next 5, 10, 15 years, and what's the long-term plan, as opposed to let's just get you in the lowest rate for the next 3-5 years,
And pause.
Are you trying to grow your mortgage business? Centum has the tools and support to help you take your business to the next level. Get access to everything from free unlimited custom marketing to daily direct pay. Find out what your business can do with Centum. Learn more at joincentum.ca.
Are you thinking of buying or selling a residential property? Relationships are at the heart of every real estate transaction. At Geltin Poirier Avocats Lawyers, we love to bring residential buyers, sellers, agents, lenders, mortgage brokers, and the law together to close the deal for you. For an effortless client experience that opens doors, call us at 613-744-4488 or visit our website at geltinpoirierlaw.ca. Let's get to the heart of your deal.
I couldn't agree more. Most of my renewals are doing exactly that, looking at their overall cash flow, looking at extending the amortization to keep it within budget. And I'd say 50% are doing that, of extending the consolidations to really just kind of manage that monthly cash flow. But then there's the other 50% that want to leave their amortization, even with the rates being up, they're wanting to leave the amortization as it is. They understand their payments will be higher, but they don't want to change the period of time to pay off that mortgage. So it's definitely a split, pretty even split from, at least from my side. But yeah, people seem to be weathering the storm, so to speak. But there is obviously those cracks in the economy of people that are seriously suffering. So yeah, the longer it goes, those more of those cracks kind of show, but it's also in the early days of a lot of those mortgages coming for renewal. So we're kind of seeing the early stages of that. And we haven't seen the whole majority of people come up for renewal, because most of those people were starting to break their mortgages in 2020, which would put their renewal in 2025, being that, they were in a certain rate and they dropped, or they broke their mortgage to refinance into a lower rate when the pandemic hit in March of 2020 and everything kind of dropped. So, it'll be interesting to see whether rates come down before then and kind of how long that stickiness, like Tiff Macklin was saying, continues.
I have 2 more stories, if you guys will indulge.
I have a couple stories. I have some more numbers too. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, I'll keep them short. First one, fun. So what should I start? I'll start with this one. This client reached out to me, was looking to downsize. They wanted to lower their payments. They felt like, mortgage is too expensive now. We want to basically downsize. So I pre-approved them, with the assumption of their current mortgage being paid off. And then I gave them basically a pre-approval based on the current rates, right? Stress tests, all that. What they would approve for now is basically equal to or less than what they currently live in. So I told her this. I said, listen, this is your maximum buying power given today's rates. And she basically responded saying, well, we're looking to downsize to save money. Like, why would we do that? And I said, well, that's a very good question. Like, you're asking me, I don't know. Like, this is the reality of the situation. They're currently like a 2% fixed rate. And, even on a 25 year at 5%, like your payments are obviously going to be pretty substantially higher. So what they would qualify for today is equal to or less than what they qualified for previously. So they essentially have no option to downsize. Like, they're kind of stuck. So that's one story. The second story is I saw the most outrageous amortization I've seen to date in my career. TD client looking to basically sell. They have their primary home and they have a rental property. They're looking to sell their primary home and keep the rental, but the rental's on a TD variable. Okay, so they hit their trigger point. TD's been sending them notices. They didn't change their payments at all. So their amortization is now 1,280 months, which is 103 years.
What?
Yeah, 103 years. So I called my TD rep, who's an amazing human, great worker, knows her stuff. I told her this, and she asked me if she's like, send me that statement. She's like, that's the highest I've ever heard of. So I was like, okay, it's not just me. This is actually wild. So yeah, 103 years is the current amortization of that mortgage.
So what does that mean? Like,
they'll get their money when they get it, Greg.
not the same client.
Wow.
I told them, I said, listen, if you want to sell your current home and buy, the new lender, regardless of who it is going to need this rental to be within like normal amortization parameters, like at least 25 to 30 years. It can't be 100, So they talked to TD, and TD basically gave them a lump sum number, or said that you can increase I think they were on biweekly payments. They had to increase their biweekly payments, but I think it was like $400 or something like that. So, pretty substantial, an extra $1,000 a month roughly, if you're looking at biweekly. So they'll do it, but it's, pretty insane. Like that's exactly, and we're going to see more of that. People are going to come up for renewal and have not noticed that they're in a TD variable, for example, and their payments are going to increase by $2,000 a month. And what happens to those people at that point?
Man. Well, I had a client, and they're not clients. I had two people that I spoke with over the last week, and they're both in the same situation where they have investment properties, and they've both decided to sell those and take the money and put it into their primary residence to decrease their mortgage payment, because one of the parties is either just laid off or their wages aren't going up or something. So they're just trying to make their life a little bit easier with everything else changing. So that's pretty substantial for the economy. Just as an observation, right? If there's two people that I talk to doing the same thing, like there's going to be more of that happening, right? Which means more homes for certain buyers, but it also means that people are putting the reins on spending, just trying to be more, like you said, be more smart with how they're spending their money. Anyways,
more stats.
So I did my usual, I like to go with the primary, the obvious, just to kind of compare neighborhoods. Well, that's what I used to do anyways. So I've got Canada, Barrhaven, and Orleans in the hotter market, which is townhomes again. And it's the same as usual, Canada, Barrhaven, followed by Orleans as in terms of best bang for your buck for the same or similar product. So in Canada, currently we have 32, and this goes back to solds back 4 weeks, in the last 4 weeks. So Canada, right now, we have 32 active listings at an average price of $647,000. Average days on market is 46. We have 4 conditional sales. Price goes down a bit, 641,000, averaging 26 days on market. And sold, we had 19 sold in the last month, $635,000 with an average of 42 days on market. So you see that? As usual, active price 647, conditional 641, and then sold price is 635. So it drops at every step of the equation. Barrhaven, 40 active listings at 622,000, averaging 35 days on market. A little bit less on the actives there for the days on market. 5 conditionally sold at an average of 545,000, which is a huge change. But again, there's obviously some outliers in there that skew that a bit. 17 days on market. Sold listings, 23 sold listings, $621,000, 28 days on market. So, we're just, it's going down. It's going down there. Now, Orleans, some big volume here, I guess you could say. 47 active listings in Orleans. 621,000 is the average price right now for a townhome in Orleans. 39 days on market is the average. There's 12 conditionally sold with an average of 608,000. 39 days on market is the average. And sold, we had a whopping 58 sold in Orleans. 58 townhomes sold in Orleans over the last 4 weeks at an average price of $595,000, averaging 26 days on market. So you see that it goes from like a 630 to a 620 to a 600. So Orleans is selling more volume, but the prices are better out here. And that is generally what I've seen historically across the city. And at sometimes it brings up the value in Orleans later, but always initially when the things change, people come out here first when they want to save. And that's what we're seeing. Thoughts on that, guys?
I got nothing.
Love Orleans.
What is this show? This is a weird day. It's a weird day. And it's one of those days.
Yeah, my brain is, I feel like I have permanent brain fog. I woke up last night at like 1:30 in the morning. I think I have too much on my mind. I woke up at 1:30 with just my brain was like, you know, you start in first gear in the morning. My brain was literally in fourth gear. Like I woke up 1:30 a.m., fourth gear, just thoughts flying through my head of every single thing going on, what I need to do in the morning, what has to happen this week. Just hilarious.
Yeah.
Didn't fall asleep again until 3, I think. So I'm awake. I'm not alert, you know? I'm here. I'm present.
People think
the day is a gift. The day is a gift.
Should we jump into some mood boosts?
Should we close the show, Dave? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Should we
basically
end this? The parasite.
People get value. Stories are great. You know, humans evolved on storytelling. So you know when you listen
what?
to a story,
and we are humans. We are human.
Last we checked
on this show, we are human. We can't machine all the time.
That's true. This is us. All right, let's go with 4 today. Lift everyone's mood. Number 1, I'm not sure if you noticed, but I love bad puns. They're just how I roll. I roll. Yes. And number 2, my wife left me because of my obsession with pasta. I'm feeling cannelloni now.
Wow.
And number 3, I'm going to stick with the pasta. What do you call fake spaghetti? An impasta.
An impasta.
An impasta.
Wow.
And last but not least,
that one's good.
How does a penguin build its house? It glues it together.
It's not the same without your face, Paul.
Oh, I know, guys. I'm sorry. This happens once every 6 months where I'm remote, my mic sucks, and you can barely hear me. But I'm here. I show up, you know?
You do show up. You do.
My number one quality in life. I show up. Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this debacle. And we will be back next week on Tuesdays for the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast. Thank you to our amazing sponsors, Centum and Gertin Poirier Avocat Lawyers. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Gentlemen, have a great day. Have a great week.
Sorry, everyone.
We're trying. We're trying. Later.
Bye.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
That was all.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe because we'd really like that.